GUI and the benefits that it would potentially provide your providers. So, Justin, I don't know if you want to kick it off from the registered patient side, or Jasmine. I'm going to pass it over to both of you.
Sure, I'll just jump in briefly. We have been working with Imdion for really over the last 12 months. And as Peter said, our integration has taken on several different detailed components. We can go as deep as you guys would like today, depending on interest and next steps. But overall, registered patient, very simply stated, is primarily focused on patient engagement and communication tools. As you'll see, we are very focused on connecting the patient to the practice and to the physician, which then drives communication through several different means, and Jasmine will demonstrate those today. But at any time, if there's any specific area of focus that you guys have, please don't hesitate to just jump in and ask us questions, and then on the tail of it, we can talk through whatever pieces a little bit more detailed as you guys would like. But I'll just go ahead and turn it over to Jasmine.
Okay, so great. I'm just going to go ahead and jump into the demo. Just keep in mind, like Peter and Justin were saying, what I'm going to show you today is actually how it looks from our direct customer standpoint. However, when it, with it being fully integrated ecosystem, you may not even see this interface here. So if there's any specific workflow or pieces that you want me to jump back and forth into, just go ahead and let me know. So can everybody see my screen?
It's not fully expanded, but screen res is fine. One quick thing, Jasmine, and I want to get confirmation
Sure.
From Quick Practice. You folks do not have hospital customers. All of your customers, with my understanding, are providers, ambulatory. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I just wanted to frame that, Jasmine. So if you were going to be focusing on hospitals, you don't need to.
Yeah, we're not going to be focusing on that today. We're just going to focus on the general workflow and patient flow of how a patient will basically get their appointment in, do the registration, send it over, and all the other features that can happen once they've been seen and so forth. Okay, so what you're seeing from our screen right now, as our entire system is cloud-based, so providers and patients can sign in from anywhere, and multiple staff members can have their own individual login. This allows for multiple users in a practice to be logged in at once, so you designate certain staff members to be in charge of different functionalities. They can all be signed into the account at one time. And now all of the activities that are done by your staff members are seen here under the recent activity log here. It also serves as an accountability trail, so you can see who did what at what time and what day. Now, in order for registration to be useful to you as a practice, you need to first get a patient into the system with all of their information. So there's a couple of ways of getting a patient to register online and having them send the information over to you. The first and primary way would be to send a patient a registration request from the dashboard here. So the scenario that you're seeing right now, and what you're seeing on the screen, is something that inside your practice a staff member is going to be seeing. So the patient calls in, they want to set up an appointment. While they're on the phone with you, you can go ahead and pull up this form, have them fill out, or not have them fill out, I apologize, ask for their email address, contact name, contact number. If there are multiple providers in this practice, you can select the provider that the patient needs, or based on the specialty that they need. If that particular provider practices at multiple locations, you can select the location. Our system in itself has a database of registration forms that we've already created. However, we can create custom forms for practices based on doctor-specific or practice-specific. So if there's multiple forms for your practice, you can choose the form that you need for this particular patient to complete. From here, you can select the appointment type, select the appointment date, And then based on that date, with this appointment type at this location with this provider, these will be all the available appointment times that you can see in real time for this provider to choose from. Moving forward, you can add reminders for this patient, anything from email, text, a combination of email, text, and or voice. And all these reminders are bi-directional, meaning the patient can respond to either confirm or reschedule. And you can change the increments of these reminders, anything from minutes, hours, or days. Here you add in any notes you want for just your office to see. Moving forward, you can select instructions you want for your patient to comply to prior to coming in for their appointment, and you can attach and upload any documents you want for your patient to have, anything from instructions to reading materials, and then questionnaires and or surveys. And if you are including something such as a questionnaire or a survey that you would like for your patient to complete, you can actually request for the patient to upload this document upon the submission of their registration. So any questions so far?
Looks great.
Okay, so once this registration is sent, the patient's going to receive an email that will look like this. It has any attachments and documents you've included, your practice information, any instructions you've included, and a begin registration link. Now this link in here has an encryption key, so once the patient clicks on it, they're sent through a secure registration process. So that's one way, in a more direct way, you can get a patient into the system. And the reason why I say that it's the most ideal way is because when you directly send a patient a registration to their email, you can actually monitor their progress. So under the view invitation history here, you can see which patients you've invited to begin a registration, and you can monitor their progress and view whether or not they've started. If there's a yellow check mark, it just means they've started but haven't submitted the registration completely. And if it is a green mark, check mark here, that means the registration has been submitted and everything's good to go. A couple of other ways actually to get a patient into the system. Whenever a customer creates an account with us, we automatically create for them a patient portal that looks like this. It'll have the practice information, list of accepted insurances, map of the locations, and the patient can actually choose to view this portal by a list of providers or by a list of locations. And below here, there are different functionalities that the patient can choose from, including the begin registration. And I'll go through some of these other features as we move forward. So this portal can actually be embedded into a practice's existing website. As you would see here, pretend that this is just, any typical practice's website. You can embed this portal via a button or through a text. We also provide codes and links for you to embed this as a widget pop-up. So this is how it would look on our practice's website. You can also do it as just a portal widget, and it will look like this. And from here, patients can choose their provider, location, and such, and begin their registration. Now, for smaller practices who may not have websites, what we do have is a Facebook application for this secure patient portal. And essentially what it is if a practice has a Facebook page, even if they don't, we can walk them through setting one up. And once they have a Facebook page for their practice, linking this secure patient portal to their Facebook page takes about less than 5 minutes. And what this patient portal here does is it essentially duplicates all the same functionalities that are available on this patient portal that you saw earlier. So from here, the patients can also begin their registration. And even though it's on a Facebook platform, consider it as just a gateway. So even from here, the patient can choose their provider, again, address, the form. Once they click the begin registration, they are sent over to an HTTPS server. This disclaimer here lets them know that registered patient is a third-party member collecting medical information on them on behalf of the provider. So once they accept that, they can go ahead and move forward. Everything good up to this point? Any questions?
Good here.
So far, so good.
Okay, so moving forward, when they arrive here, if this is brand new patients who have never done a registration with us before, they can go ahead and start a new registration. However, if they have done a registration and they have a PHR, personal health record with us, what they can do is go ahead and log in to their PHR, and our system will go ahead and pull all the medical information from within their PHR and populate it into this registration that they're going to be completing. So think of it as if the patient completed registration for a family practice. So they did that once, and that family practice referred them to a specialty doctor.